Hi, I'm Kerry Padrick, your host for Eye on St. Lucie. Imagine, you were born in a village not far from Sochi, home of the 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Russia. Adopted from Russia by an American family in your early years, you now call Florida your home. You're a successful senior at the St. Lucie Virtual School, and you manage your time between studies and training to claim the Russian Federation National Women's Surf Championship. Well, stay with us for this edition of Eye on St. Lucie, where we will meet this year's surf champion and her principal to find out just how she made this dream come true. Well, ladies, I'm so happy that you're here today. This is quite an interesting and unique Eye on St. Lucie. We've never had a champion sitting at our table before. Maddy, I know that our viewing audience is very interested in finding out a little bit more about who you are as a person. So why don't you tell us your age, what year you are in school, some of the things that interest you, and maybe a brief history of some of your championships.
So my name is Maddy. I'm 18 years old, and what I like about school is the teachers are so kind, and they help you whenever you need help, and they're really nice to you.
And I think, I know you're a very well-rounded individual from your athletic accomplishments and your academic accomplishments. Someone told me that one of your favorite courses of study is history. Is that correct?
Yep.
And why is that important to you?
Because as we go along forward in our life, we need to know the history of what was behind it. So that just helps me to where I want to head to where when.
And I imagine you've done a lot of research about some of the famous surfers as well.
Yeah.
Learned from their techniques, their mistakes, and their successes.
Yeah.
Anyone stand out?
I really liked Lakey Peterson. She had this movie, it was called 100 or something, and she would show this film on how when she was a kid, she was so boy-like, and she skated all the time, and nothing came easy for her as well. Nothing comes easy, and she studied the boys, when.
Is it safe to say that surfing has evolved from more of a male-oriented sport to one that is much more co-ed now than it used to be?
Yes, actually in the WSL, they made the pay for men and women equal. So that's
and
really...
WSL is?
World Surfing League.
World Surfing League. Just wanted to double check on that. Well, your dedication to your sport, I'm sure, is amazing, because no one gets to championship level without a lot of hard work, dedication, and refinement of their craft. At the same time, you're a student, and you're very successful, so you have a unique opportunity to study virtually. And Ms. Ziemba, why don't you take some time and share with us some information about the programs of study, what you do in St. Lucie, and how you lead a team that, as she said, is so very kind and supportive to the students as they pursue their goals.
Thank you. I'm the principal for the virtual programs here in St. Lucie Public Schools. There are 3 fully K-12 virtual options here in St. Lucie County. St. Lucie Virtual is the oldest of our virtual options, which was founded in 2009. Based on some Florida legislation that required our districts to offer virtual options. Mosaic Digital Academy is one of probably the most popular virtual options, well known, I would say. That's also a K-12 virtual option. That was founded in 2012. All of our virtual options really offer different curriculum pathways, but they all lead to a diploma. And that's really what we're seeking. We're looking for the best fit for our students. And so our mission really is about offering the virtual options, different unique pathways for students that are seeking the flexibility of time and place. So that's kind of what we are about.
It sounds like a perfect fit for Maddy, because you travel the world, and time is something that you have to manage. And your story is so interesting. Now, as a senior, you're considering, you know, people who have done this all their lives, you're relatively new to the surfing world, yet you've definitely made your mark. You started surfing in 2011. So why don't you share with us really how you got started, because I think that's really cool, and then maybe some of the really unique opportunities that you've had, and what are your most coveted championships?
Well, how I got started in surfing, I went to the movies, and my whole family went to see The Soul Surfer, and I wasn't really into surfing at that time. And then I saw that movie, and it kind of really inspired me, because how in the movie that she didn't give up after the shark bit her arm off. And that was just like really good. You know, it was just, I wanted to do that same thing.
And Ms. Ziemba, do you see that never give up type of an attitude and fortitude that she displays in her studies as well?
Oh, it's self-determination. We see that a lot in our athletes, or even just students with these strong outside passions. And so that self-determination, we saw that and we thought, we definitely need to, you know, really harness that so that she can actually achieve these goals.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned earlier the World Surfing Association, right? No, World Surfing League.
Surfing League.
World Surfing League, WSL. But you're also a member of many other groups and organizations. Which ones do you belong to, and why is it important to be involved in those types of organizations as a surfer when you're out there on the waves all by yourself?
Okay, so the ISA is International Surfing Association, and I do that. That's very important to be in because it's teams, you know. There's teams, there's Russia, there's Costa Rica, there's all these different types of teams around the world that if you get into that final, then you represent your country. So that's like putting a good name out for your own country.
Okay.
So.
All right. And so with that, I know that you're a member of various organizations. You talked about that team spirit and the camaraderie. It's important. You also have people who sponsor you. So how do you, as a teenager, now I'm not saying that in a negative way, but this is business. You are in the business world. How do you get your sponsors?
Well, it's not more about how I get there, but it's more like when you're out in the water free surfing at a contest, or you do good in a contest and you have no sponsors on your board, then they see you and they're like, hey, we want to sponsor her because she surfed really good in that contest. And when you get the sponsors, they have stickers that you put on your board. So when you get up to the finals and you get on that stage, you hold your board with you. People are like, that must be a really good brand because she surfs for them and she's a good surfer. So, you know, that's how that mentality is.
Okay. So really you're marketing yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And people are watching you all the time, which means your character is on display as much as your talent.
Yeah.
Do you feel that pressure?
Yeah.
And how do you cope with that?
There's negative pressure and there's positive pressure. So when you're out in the heat and you have that pressure of all these people on the beach watching you, you kind of just block that out and you think about, I gotta get this wave, I gotta get this wave, and you just block all of the people out because during the heat, it's like they're not even there after you've been doing it for a while.
All right. So let's go to your most recent championship, the one that you just won in Russia, because when I go to your website, the list is very long, very impressive. You were in the final, is it called a heat?
Yeah, heat.
So you see, you're educating me, thank you. And you're in the final heat. What do you look for? Is it a certain wave? Is there a time you have to stay up there?
So the way they judge this is there's waves that come through. There's 4 waves in each set. It depends on where you are, and you have to time it. And there's 20 minutes in a heat. There might be 15 minutes in a heat. And if there's 20 minutes, then you get your 2 best waves, and what you do on the wave and how they count that. When you go for a bottom turn, it has to be a nice, precise bottom turn. I have to show it, sorry. But if it's a big wave, you have to go for a deep bottom turn out into the flats, and then kind of just smack it. And
Are you competing for the same wave? Are there multiple surfers? Like there's a great wave coming, and there's 2 or 3 surfers, and they're trying to all vie for that same wave. Is that how it works, or is there one person?
That's in some heats they'll have priority, in some heats they won't. If they have priority, there's your jersey colors: fireman blue and yellow, and then red, and then whatever colors they have. They will line that up, and it'll be whoever's to the left and whoever's to the right. To the left has first priority. So priority is when you're going for a wave and other people want to go for it, they can't go for it because that would be considered cutting you off. And
as one who is rising to that very high level in that sport, you want to be considered honorable in all that you do.
yes.
Well, and I'm listening and I'm learning. And you've talked about so many different characteristics of surfing. You know, people think, oh, you're out there surfing, it's just fun. But there's a lot of rules to it, just like any sport, and you're bringing that to light. You've got all of these things weighing on you. And I know that, like you said, your teachers support you. And Ms. Ziemba, what do you see transfer over into the school, the classroom, and her interactions with others that you are most taken aback with as you have had the pleasure of working with her?
Well, online learning seems to be the perfect fit for Polina. And when students come to us, they don't naturally balance the academic and their passions on the outside. And when we see the self-determination, we really want to help foster that. But we have to kind of help them and give them those non-negotiables, give them the strategies that they're going to be able to take from what they're doing on the outside, and everything that they're applying to their passions. They need to be able to apply that to their academics and their study. And so we see, you know, these great characteristics, and we want to just help foster those. You know, with virtual learning, everyone kind of thinks that you're sort of just at home or gone or somewhere, but not in our virtual programs. Our virtual programs really, we really want to engage our students. We want to make sure that we actually see those talents. We see those unique talents, and we see those characteristics, and we want to help foster them.
And I think that's something that's very unique about St. Lucie Public Schools virtual programs. Regardless of which avenue in the virtual learning world you take, with you and your team, there is that opportunity for face-to-face personal guidance. So it's not just looking at a computer and being isolated in your learning experiences. It's really learning on what suits you best and socializing with others who can support you along the way. Is that an accurate summary?
That is. It's very accurate. We know we're unique. When I talk to other colleagues across the state, they are not running the same type of virtual programs. Typically, their students are at home or somewhere else. We do offer a live component. We want to have our students be able to come in, meet their teachers, build rapport with these strong role models that we have hired in St. Lucie County. Many of our teachers actually are, you know, many of them are full-time teachers in our virtual programs, but we also have student teachers that are teaching in our regular brick and mortar schools that are part-time teachers that our students get to experience as well. And so it's a great opportunity for our students to come into our facility, work alongside their peers so that they're not isolated, so that they are actually part of the greater school culture that we know that our young people are craving. They don't want to be alone. Many of them do have some challenging things that they have to experience, but we're able to provide that opportunity for them to have that normalcy and have some of that school culture that really truly is, you know, just the right amount for them.
So a lot of support, a lot of motivation in order to help everyone, regardless of their goal, reach their personal goals. And you mentioned the fact that you appreciate the support you get, how kind your instructors are. What else motivates you to keep going? Because this is hard work.
Yeah, my dad actually, he motivates me because he told me this story one time, and he told me how when he went for his diving job, his brother always nagged him on how he couldn't do it. And he always nagged him and always nagged him. And he actually made it. He made on TV, he made what he wanted to do because of what his brother kept doing, you know? And that's just what I keep in my head. Like, people tell you you can't do it, you can't do it. You just got to prove them wrong. Show them that you can.
So that impossible word is not part of your vocabulary because you always seek the possible.
Yep.
That's awesome. And there's so many of us that have that shining star in our life that we really gravitate to in order to, sometimes when the going gets tough, you've got to pull from within. So what a neat story to hear that it's your dad. Are there other people that have been inspirational in your life that you'd like to thank for your...
Yes, I'd like to thank Jeanne Ziemba. She's a 5-time world champion, and she's my coach from Costa Rica.
Okay.
I'd like to thank her because I go to her house in Costa Rica, and we train, and we have fun, and she motivates me because she's always there saying, you got this, you can do it. And she kind of just helps me learn in a fun way.
Okay.
So she helps me with everything.
Yeah. Well, you sound like a very genuine, humble, and appreciative young lady. I'm sure those are qualities that you see, Miss Ziemba. As you've worked with her, do you have the opportunity to work with some of the individuals who also help her, and that way there's that oneness in how people are, you know, working together to see that she gets where she needs to be? Or
Absolutely. So Polina does come to our campus, and she works alongside our other students that come to our campus. Some of the students that you know, get to experience some of her stories, and that's fantastic for them to see her strength. The teachers that are in the classroom as well. I have met her father. Her father is really pretty remarkable and encouraging her. And I see her having a circle of strong people around her, and that's, you know, one of the characteristics I see in her. She's emanating some of the strength that she sees in her circle. So it's fantastic.
Wonderful. And just so that I can make a point of clarity, I'm referring to you as Maddy. You are Maddy Polina Malizia. Got it
You
right?
said it right.
Yes.
You said it right.
Okay. So some people call you Maddy, some people call you Polina, both beautiful names. I'm going to take a leap because you've talked about some of the things that you see within her. I know that one of the things that you attempted to do in order to give back that was very special recently involved your past in trying to give back when you went over to Russia for your championship.
Yeah.
Tell our audience what your intent was, even though, you know, sometimes things don't work out as we would like.
Yeah.
Your intent was just a beautiful blessing to people over there.
So what I wanted to do was, I have a sponsor, and it's Kobe, and it's a flip-flop company, and they had all these little shoes, and they were like, hey, you guys can have all these shoes. And we were like, so we wanted to go to Russia and look for the orphanage where I was adopted in and give those kids the shoes that they didn't have because they were very poor. And so we went over there, and the building was closed. It had been closed for 8 years prior. But we kept the flip-flops, so we're gonna keep looking for orphanages.
I think that's so honorable, and just a beautiful story, and a little bit more of a nice slice for us to take a look at who you are as a person, not just as a surfer. All that is that's an accomplishment in itself. What is next for you? You're going to be graduating.
I just plan. Actually, I want to start a surf school.
Okay.
So I want to teach little girls how to surf. And I want to teach them how to be the best they can be, and that they can do it. No matter who's putting you down, you can do it.
All right. And that's a lot to be said because, you know, you can be the greatest athlete in the world, but if you don't have the confidence or you let other people get in your head, then that's not going to help catapult you forward. Is there a location that you are looking toward opening this school?
I just New Smyrna probably.
Okay.
You know, because there's so many kids there, little Groms.
Right.
They surf there all the time, and there's this one lady that came up to me. She was like, "Hey, do you want to teach my daughter how to surf?" And I was like, "Sure." And she was like, "How much?" I was like, I don't know, you know, because I didn't really think that she was gonna offer me money to do that. And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And she was like, "Okay, let me get some time to get that money up." And I was like, "That's so cool." Like, that's like really cool.
You
So,
make a living at doing what you love.
Yeah.
And then it's not work.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe a couple of marketing classes are in her future.
I think so.
You can take those virtually too, you know. All right. Ms. Ziemba, I know that you all have got a lot of programs and things going at your school. Is there anything that you have on the horizon that, let's say, some of the programs that are in place that help inspire students to grab this innate desire to move forward, or have the ability to, you know, thwart some of the negative things that are going on throughout the district? We have, you know, we're a Kids at Hope district. We've got positive behavior intervention and support. I see so many things that you do online through your Facebook page and Twitter about the celebrations that are there. Are there certain things geared just toward that innate motivation for students so they can be the best they can be?
Well, we really want to make sure that we're honoring the individuals. You know, in most schools, you know, they're serving a great, you know, that school community. And in our program, we're serving Martin County and St. Lucie County. And so we really are trying to think as broadly as we can, but really thinking about the individual. And so we you know, when students enroll with us, we learn about them. We learn about their needs, and we try to make sure that we're offering opportunity for them to really express themselves. And so it really just depends on the community that we are serving at the time. And so we look for opportunities that are already being offered in our district. And I know you do a fantastic job at advertising some of the upcoming events. And we actually also post those on our social media so that our families can actually participate in those. So all of the same types of events that their regular traditional schools are offering, we make sure that our students also have that opportunity. Same for any of the athletics that are happening in any of the schools. So if a student wants to explore the athletic side, we invite them to complete an athletic packet and to be able to go to their zone school to play a sport and still be able to be a virtual student.
And you've got a great culture that you've established. Part of that is through some of the studies and professional development that you've put in place in order to support your students. The word grit comes to mind. I thought I'd get a smile from you on that. Do you think that those type of trainings that you and your staff have participated in together, you've bonded with, and you have a good, solid awareness of, what do you think that does to help students who are on this wonderful world trek like Maddy is?
Well, I know that we can say these fantastic words, and they mean a lot, but they don't mean anything unless it's really about the actions and the way that our teachers interact and respond to the students and to their parents. And when students are experiencing difficulty or challenging times, it's how we respond. And we want to make sure that, you know, if you're not getting that math problem, if you're not understanding this, or you're failing. Failing is all part of that journey. And teachers are not only just speaking those words, they truly believe it. And so they're giving them lots of encouragement, opportunity to relearn it, and to pull that from their, you know, from their gut and say, listen, I've got this, I can do this. I don't have it yet, but I'm going to. And so that's really what my teachers are about. This is not something that's just words where we have to write it on a chart and remind ourselves to say these fantastic things. They really do believe it, and our students are really benefiting from that because they're saying those things to themselves as well.
So you're speaking to a lot of the support mechanisms in place, the layers of resources and personnel who are right there to come in and scoop and help push.
It's the true social emotional learning that I think our students really are craving, and I know St. Lucie County Public Schools is doing a fantastic job at really helping our students to be able to learn from, you know, all of their experiences. And so this is just really an opportunity for us to be able to speak into the lives of our students as well.
Good. So Maddy, you know that there are people watching this show and they're probably thinking to themselves, wow, if only, or I wish I could. what words of wisdom would you give someone watching right now?
I would tell them to not give up. Don't let people drag you down. And nothing comes easy. You always got to work hard. And it feels so good at the end of the tunnel when you've made that accomplishment. And that's the feeling that you want more and more often. So that's what motivates you to keep going and going and going, because you want that good feeling. You want people to be like, wow, I want to see her, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's that zest and that zeal for...
It's that good feeling.
Okay. And
that you
what
just-
better way to live your life than from one good feeling to the next? That's awesome. And so for the flexibility that virtual offers, do you have anything you'd like to say about some of the programming in case someone's toying with that idea as well?
Well, if students are really thinking that this might be something that's attractive to them, don't jump your ship. I would definitely say have a good, long conversation with your parents and then speak with your counselors, because they are going to know you and know what, have an opportunity to really dig deep and see if you are really ready to be in the driver's seat of your learning, because in the end, that's exactly what Maddy is having to do. She's really having to drive her learning and understand herself enough to know that I'm going to have to set aside this time for my academics and really stick to it, stick to those non-negotiables that she learned during her onboarding, all those strategies about staying on pace and working to your school schedule, because we do stick to the school calendar that St. Lucie Public Schools is on. It's just very important for you to really think long and hard about really what you're doing, and if you're choosing full-time virtual. But we are in an enrollment period. We are enrolling for the second semester. But again, if this is the right fit for you, it's going to be after you've had a good long conversation with your parents and your school counselor.
All right. And if they want to learn more about Florida Virtual, they can always go to the St. Lucie Public School website, www.stlucieschools.org, click on the Schools tab, and then scroll right on down to Mosaic Digital or St. Lucie Virtual, and learn much more about it. And you're always available for a nice conversation. I know that personally.
Can I say something?
I would love for you to.
I want to thank my dad, because he has been so supportive of me, and he takes me to all these places. He took me to Portugal, he took me to Costa Rica. He pays for it. Sometimes my sponsors pay for it, but mostly he pays for it, and then he's got to work that off when he gets home. And if he didn't adopt me from that orphanage, then I wouldn't be here right now. Like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be living the life that I love right now. So,
from everything that I hear, I'm sure he's very proud of you, and I know that you are paying this forward, and you're going to make a lot of people happy as you move forward as a teacher of surfing, as a champion of surfing, and just as a fantastic individual. I thank you so much for being here, and I am going to close this show with our audience being able to see your championship ride in Russia. Congratulations, and thank you again for being here.
Полина Мalizia выбрала отличную волну, показывает хорошую технику. Отличное завершение. Я думаю, что Полина